don't think you understand. I'm from the Internal Revenue Service. That's a department of the...
Hop in that puddle, Jumper, and cut mud out of here.
But I only want to talk about Mr. Clampett's return.
He ain't going nowhere. If you keep hanging around here, you ain't going nowhere neither.
Now, see here, madam, I insist. I'll be back.
I'll be waiting.
What's all the ruckus, Granny? Who was that?
That blame revenuer.
Sure?
Came right out and admitted it himself.
Well, we don't want no trouble with the law. And besides, you said you was going to stop running your still.
I ain't been. But I don't want no revenuer snooping around in the lowest form of varmints. Even he was ashamed of being one.
What?
Called it the Infernal Revenue Service.
Internal Revenue Service? Well, sit down.
Thank you.
Well, now, it's a pleasure to have you visit my struggling little bank. See that? There we are. Yes, it's always a pleasure to see you splendid chaps from the Internal Revenue Service. You know, I was just talking to my taxman yesterday. Aspen?
No. Mr. Drysdale, I'm not here to talk about your income tax return.
You're not?
No. But your taxman did handle the return for Mr. J.D. Clampett, right?
Oh, yes. Mr. Clampett is my largest depositor. Wonderful man. Salt of the earth. Honest as the day is long. Lovely family.
Mr. Drysdale, I was just fired on by a member of that lovely family.
Fired on, you mean shot at?
With a double-barrel 12-gauge shotgun. Wielded expertly by a little old lady no bigger than this.
Granny. Oh, Mr. Landman, you have to understand these people.
Oh, I understood her fine. What I don't understand is this. How can a man show an income of millions for last year and not one red penny for all the years previous?
Oh, well, I can explain that.
Well, the Treasury Department will appreciate it.
Now, this is the beautiful mansion you just visited, right?
No, I would hardly call it a visit. Skirmish might be a better word. Here's the house, yes.
Hey, Mr. Landman, would you believe that 8 months ago they lived here?
No, frankly, I wouldn't.
I give you my word. The poorest, most uninformed people imaginable. Like when an oil company tried to explore their swamp, old Jed's daughter hit him with a rock. Thought he was a revenuer. What you got there?
Stranger?
Where'd you get him?
I beat him with a rock.
What for?
He was skulking around down by the slough. Figured he might be a revenuer.
He ain't no revenuer.
Then can I keep him?
Of course not.
Well, I called him.
Don't matter.
Well, he won't be no trouble. I could keep him out in the smokehouse.
Ellie Mae, you can't keep people like they were dogs and cats.
Who's that?
Some feller Ellie found nosing around.
Beat him with the rock so it'd be easier to tote. Dear fellas from the petroleum company.
What's a petroleum?
I don't know. He asked me if he could do some wildcatting down by the slough. I said, help yourself. We're glad to get rid of the critters.
What'd he say?
He kind of laughed. The laugh's on him. There ain't no wildcats down there at that slough.
Heck no. It's too full of oil.
Are you trying to tell me they didn't know oil was valuable?
Even when the oil company geologists told them, they didn't understand.
Mr. Clampett, that swamp of yours is full of oil.
I could have told you that.
Well, my company would like to pump it out.
Yeah, I'd like that too, but I just can't afford to have it done.
Oh, no, you don't understand. You see, you wouldn't have to pay for it.
Oh, I don't take favors from strangers.
No, Mr. Clampett, you see, you're a very rich man.
Stranger, if money was skunk oil, a hound dog couldn't smell me.
It's a swamp. My company will buy that land. While they'll raise so many derricks down there that...
Son, I gotta be honest with you, you couldn't raise turnips down there.
That ground looks black and rich, but it's so greasy you can just squeeze the oil out of it.
But that's what my company wants.
Maybe you better sit down for a spell.
Why, even after Mr. Clampett sold his swamp, he didn't know how much money he'd gotten until his cousin Pearl heard the news and came rushing over.
Stop this thing! Stop it! Hold on! Heaven protect us! Did they hit us, kid?
Oh, but I think they sure want the chicken house.
I'm sure sorry about the chicken house, but nobody got hurt.
Jethro, I told you to get rid of them worn-out brakes.
I did, Ma. How come we ain't got none?
Get on out and lift the chicken house back on its foundation.
Jed?
Yeah.
Jed, Ellie Mae came running over to my place, and she said you sold the swamp to some oil company.
Well, yeah, I guess I did.
What did they pay you for it?
Well, he ain't paid me nothing yet. That Brewster fella said he'd bring the money later.
How much they going to pay you?
Well, he said I'd depend some on how much oil they could pump out.
Well, you must have mentioned some figure. What was it?
Well, now, Pearl, you know that old swamp won't worth shucks.
Jed Clampett, you got slickered and you're ashamed to admit it.
That's just what I told you.
Granny, how much they gonna pay him?
All right, I'll tell you. He said it runs somewhere between 25 and 100.
25 and 100?
I know it don't sound like much, but Mr. Brewster seemed to set great store by the fact he's going to pay me in some new kind of dollar.
There ain't no new kind of dollar.
Well, it's new to me. I've heard of gold dollars, silver dollars, paper dollars, but he said he's going to pay me in, what do you call them, Granny?
$1 million.
Yeah, that's it.
$1 million?
Well, he wrote the whole thing out on this piece of paper. Here, you can see for yourself. I don't know nothing about that kind of stuff.
See here. Thanks in heaven. Granny, give me the jug.
It's empty, but I'll fetch some.
I'll go, Granny.
Jed, you're a millionaire. A millionaire.
Yeah, that's what that Brewster fella kept calling me. I didn't know just how to take it.
You mean you're rich.
Me?
The richest man in these hills. Maybe in the whole state. Oh, Jed, you can have anything you want. Do anything you want. Go any place you want.
Yeah, that's another thing he kept saying. He said he reckoned I'd be moving away from here soon. What do you think, Pearl? You think I ought to move?
Jed, how can you even ask? Look around you. You're 8 miles from your nearest neighbor. You're overrun with skunks, possums, coyotes, bobcats. You use kerosene lamps for light. You cook on a wood stove, summer and winter. You're drinking homemade moonshine, washing with homemade lye soap. And your bathroom is 50 feet from the house, and you ask should you move?
Yeah, I reckon you're right. Man, be a dang fool to leave all this.
You know, Mr. Drysdale, in the Internal Revenue Service, we hear some pretty wild stories. But this corn pone to caviar saga of Jed Clampett tops everything.
Well, if you think it's been unbelievable so far, wait till you hear the rest of it.
What I can't understand is how a man so insulated from the rest of the world ever heard about Beverly Hills, California.
I can explain that in 2 words. Cousin Pearl. She's the one who had her sights set on California.
Oh, there you are, Jed. You misunderstood me. I meant you should move away. And you know where I'd go if I was you?
Where?
California.
California?
Yes, sir. Beverly Hills, California. I hear tell it's full of millionaires out there. And movie stars, too.
In what?
Movie stars. Jed, remember the time that your pa took us to Eureka Springs to see the movie picture?
Yeah.
Well, the actors that make them movie pictures live in Beverly Hills.
Go law.
Yes, sir.
Well, doggy. Wouldn't that be something? Living in the same neck of the woods with old Tom Mix.
It sure would. And we could come visit you. You know what else they say about California?
What?
It don't get cold out there.
What don't get cold out there?
Nothing don't get cold out there. They don't have no snow or no ice.
Can't they bring some in?
They don't want it. That's why'd be so good for Granny. Remember last winter when she slipped on the ice and broke her hip?
Yeah, poor old woman. She was limping for 2 days.
Well, that couldn't happen in California because they don't have no ice.
How come?
I don't know how come. But Granny'd sure like it, and we could visit you.
Maybe Jethro'd know how come there's no ice. He's going to school.
We could ask you. Jethro!
Yeah, Ma.
Come on over here. Speaking of school, Ellie Mae could get herself a fine education out there in Beverly Hills.
Yeah, Ma?
Your rich uncle's got a question he'd like to ask you.
What rich uncle, Ma?
Your rich Uncle Jay.
Jethro? How come there's no ice in California? Don't look at me. I didn't take it.
Big
Well, I didn't, Ma.
Oh, get out of here.
Well, you always do. I didn't mean